For those of you wondering, the LGHD TV Plus tag is front and center. Well, you guys know the drill. No time to waste. Let's get into it. Paraborn asks, how woke is diversity age? Let's begin. Pronoun choices, alphabet ideology, ugly characters, safe dialogue. It sounds like you're talking to HR. Trans surgery scars. Blatant disregard for established story and lore. The game isn't even out yet. The game isn't even out yet. There is much more that they are keeping hidden in game. Roaming Zombie writes, how sad are you that this game lives rent-free in your brain? Don't like it? Find a hobby and or do something. Anything meaningful with your life, because this is just pathetic. Block. Sexy writes, it is bad. The game director, Corinne Bush, is a trans queer. Literally the textbook definition of a mentally ill person. Do I need to say more? Toriva, they them writes, completely agree. The game is number 2 on the bestsellers list, so I came here to see the people talk about the gameplay or maybe have questions about the game, just to find out that the hate mob has arrived. 90% of the people rather complains about a game they are not interested in than actually visiting a forum of a game they enjoy. I will never understand it. Number 1 writes, these clowns think anything is woke. They just sit in a dark room wearing their tinfoil hats watching paint dry. Oh crap, I forgot rooms are woke. Foil is woke, paint is woke, and sitting is woke. Oh well. Paraborn asks, I wonder how many copies this game will need to sell to make any money. Excuse me, Paraborn, what you should be asking is, how many times do I need to post on the Steam forums before I win? Toriva, they them in a deleted post writes, I'm in the community myself, and everyone I talk to knows the difference between something extreme and over the top like Dustborn in a game like Call of Duty or Dragon Age. Bishek writes, why is Dustborn extreme and over the top and VEILGUARD isn't? Toriva, they them responds, because Dustborn does not represent the community at all. Dustborn, for example, insults cops and blames them for being istophobic, while most cops are not at all. The card system they used in Dustborn speaks for itself as well. Basically, it comes down to the fact that Dustborn's storytelling is very aggressive against everyone outside of the community, whereas in DA, you get to choose your own path without getting insulted by the game if you choose not to. Yeah, I'm gonna need a citation on this last sentence because I cannot verify that this is true. Inda Licio writes, hopefully the people that this game is trying to represent show up and buy it, else BioWare is going bye-bye. Don't worry guys, the modern audience will save Dragon Age. Dark Eternal writes, it's incredibly woke. You shouldn't buy it. In fact, you should lock yourself in your basement bedroom and never leave. LGHD TV Plus people exist everywhere. It's not safe for fragile, delicate people such as yourself. Best to play it safe and become a hermit. Don't worry, society will be just fine without you, I promise. Paraborn says, lol, I saw posts just like this on Concord. Dark Eternal says, there are posts like this on every new game page made by fragile, feminine men who can't accept that others live their lives differently. It's just a matter of being able to accept reality. Unfortunately, some people are incapable of such a simple thing, and so they're terrified of everything. It's pathetic and hilarious at the same time. Dempsey writes, probably the wokest hearts ever made, but this is nothing compared to the fact that this game will simply be very boring and frustrating. BioWare died years ago. They don't know how to make games enjoyable anymore. Maybe this garbage will be the last nail. Fox Run writes, woke doesn't exist. It's simply just intolerance. Well, we started talking about immigration, accusing other people of being Kamala voters. So Janny Eli, what a hero. We're locking this thread as it has devolved into non-productive argument. Thanks for your understanding. Thank you, Janny Eli. Thank you for your service. Next thread. Sunfire Knight 86 with a new thread titled Dragon Age, the VEILGUARD currently most pre-ordered game on PS Store in UK and US. In addition to being a top pre-order on Steam, it's now a top contender on consoles too. Guess real gamers spoke up and supported what they enjoy. Not you though, Sunfire 86. You didn't buy it. Vivo Killers writes, Dragon Age selling more than Call of Duty 6? Yeah, right. Tell me another one. Sunfire 86 replies, okay, one more. Your more block. Hot take. If you guys want a hot take from me, you should be buying neither VeilGuard nor Call of Duty 6. Crazy, I know. Sunfire Knight 86 didn't get enough attention, so he had to bump his own thread with some fake outrage. He writes, "It's so weird. It's now a top 10 bestseller on every platform and well reviewed, and people are still trying to deny it. It's almost like they're just mad. But at what? Surely not trans people. They told us it wasn't about that. And since they haven't even played the game, they surely wouldn't lie." And it worked. More people reply. Anna the Zombie replies, "#1 best-selling single-player game worldwide. #1 best-selling pre-order on Steam. #1 best-selling pre-order on PlayStation." And then copy-paste all the very legitimate legacy media reviews, giving it at minimum 9 out of 10. Stay upset. Reality has spoken. Brother Atheros replies to Anna the Zombie and says, "Do you genuinely believe that game quote-unquote journalists, their sites and ratings have any reflection in reality? That's flat earther levels of disorder." I think he meant to say delusion, but disorder works, I guess. There's somebody that said that the VeilGuard needed to sell, what, 3 million copies to break even? 5 million to make money? Anything less than 3, BioWare has not justified their existence. So that's a lot of copies. That is a lot of sales in order to break even, because this was not a cheap game. This was very expensive. Hiragana, who was sadly banned, writes, "Top seller if I include all the released game. LeMayo, oh, the data cherry pick. That's how you know the quote-unquote journalists are getting desperate." Mr. Two Thumbs writes, "It's only number 12 on PSN top sellers. What are you on about?" Power Crank writes, "The way you pro-woke people always lie and cope about the game sales is absolutely hilarious. You did it about Stellar Blade 2, trying to convince everyone that that game totally flopped. You people are all despicable, lying manipulators. Absolutely disgusting the way you all just casually lie." Dindar replies to that and says, "Sir, most of this people are paid and the rest is just mental. There's nobody buying a game and is really happy because it is littered with transgenders and ugly chicks with giant chins. This audience does not exist." I think you're wrong there, Sindar. The modern audience will save VeilGuard, and you can quote me on that. Firejack writes, "Game of the Year incoming. Mark my words." All right, Firejack, consider your words marked. Dude Bro 69 with a new thread titled, "Is the target audience ages 8 to 13? It finally makes sense what the negative reviews meant. Why there's no real sense of conflict in the game. Why every bit of drama doesn't really reach any form of dramatic level when every conflict is smoothed out because no one can express themselves honestly. Why is there no actual dark happenings, actions, talks, deeds, and what was supposed to be a dark fantasy? It's a children's game. Adult devs trying to use kindergarten level of conflict / drama and logic to appeal to adult audiences. But all they made is a children's game. Not exactly suitable for children." First reply, Duma writes, "Ages from 10 to 13 are teenagers, just as 14 to 19. Fairly sure a lot of people will consider 14 years olds to at least 18-year-olds to be children too." Punish Jeremy replies to that and says, "What?" Wolf Eisberg writes, "The target audience isn't 8 to 13, given the game is an M-rated game. Rather, it's a game for people who need safe spaces, away from anything that can have a chance at offending them." Well, there's your problem right there. M-rated? You should have pulled a Halo 5 343 Industries and made the enemies robots to get that juicy teen rating. Oh, Dragon Master says maybe it is rated T for teen. I actually don't care enough to actually look it up for myself, so we'll just say it's an enigma for now and move on. Thetis with a new thread titled, "Mr. Matty Plays gets canceled for criticizing the game." Mr. Matty Plays is a very woke, very mainstream-friendly YouTuber, so basically an NPC. Not one of those evil alt-right haters, and even he got the colorfully haired Karens on social media to gang up on him for disagreeing with the narrative. Once again, that Jordan Peterson quote makes absolute sense. You will be held to higher and higher and soon impossible to maintain ethical standards by the very mob you currently wish to please. Then you will make a mistake and they will devour you with glee. Gutless Jack writes, "No, he got canceled for violating his NDA. Even if he wrote a glowing review, it still would have happened." Grimno writes, "He gave footage to his editor, who then gave it to someone else, and it eventually fell into the hands of a full-blown istophobe. Very curious about that friendship pipeline, and I feel like that needs to be investigated." Gunschlinger writes he is being canceled for breaking his NDA and leaking the game to his nazy friend. Stop spreading BS. Hiragana, who was sadly banned, writes, some people pretend to be one of the LGHD TV Plus people and got review code, leaked a bunch of screenshot of character conversations, was full of modern day nonsense and compliment each other's surgery scars, so BioWare copyright strike them. Well, the rumor was right after all. Good job, BioWare. You truly put the L in LGHD TV after all. Oh boy, we've seen this guy before. Diva Vivi, she, they, no DM, who was banned and got 2 clowns, starts a new thread titled, VEILGUARD is a historical win for DEI, rainbow emoji. Modern audiences don't exist. DEI doesn't sell. Get woke, go broke. The VEILGUARD proves that all of this is wrong. It is exactly the stories we want to be heard, and that for most gamers, DEI matters a lot. The modern audience the modern audience exists and is stronger than ever. This game is already a confirmed masterpiece and soon top seller with expected multi-10 million sales. It has way higher gaming journalist ratings than Baldur's Gate 3, which is an overrated game anyways. Larian should stick to comedy. We congratulate EA BioWare for their excellent contribution in moving gaming culture forward. VEILGUARD will become a beacon for others to not be silent or in fear. It's not your best work, Diva Vivi, but still pretty funny. Non-binary. Jeez. He writes, that win will result in some BioWare layoffs. Sin H, who's a Phoenix main apparently, shout out. He writes, can people replying to this in earnest look up Poe's Law? Thank you. MacArthur, who was banned, writes, if this game wouldn't have Dragon Age name, it would literally be Dustborn 2.0. Toriva, they them, writes, finally a positive thread. Yes! Very happy that the pre-orders are doing so well. I'm hopefully getting it for Christmas. Stray Cat writes, just report him/him, Vomit Girl, who was banned, starts a new thread titled, I'm a trans girl, and I don't think the representation in this game is good. It just feels like pandering with no purpose on top of a game that looks absolutely mediocre. Haven Harpy, seen him before, he writes, TBH, BioWare doing a harding job, with representation is kind of to be expected, especially when you remember that one interaction with the trans woman in Andromeda. Why did you move to this planet? Because I'm trans. Congratulations. Truly a work of art. Misty Frog writes, you have my sympathies then. Just because I know how much it sucks to end up on the side with the bigots because you have legitimate criticisms and issues with the game. But people won't shut up about Scars being some horrible addition to the game. You're not alone in being pro LGHD TV and also having taste. Leah Gita writes, OP is an obvious bigot. Who knew? /S. Ogami writes, it's always the same. Someone appears and goes, I am LGHD TV, and I am against this forced diversity, and blah blah. Then you go through their post history and it turns out to be a basement-dwelling white neckbeard living in their parents' basement. Every single time. It's truly pathetic how they have to create these sock puppets because they don't have any arguments of their own. Iceborg with a new thread titled, The Moment I Decided to Skip. I am a huge DA fan, but the moment I realized it was Jover was when I saw the screenshot of a trans Canary. Getting mad the person wasn't using the character's they them pronouns. Spirit of Shinobi, who bought the game, writes, trans characters existing and being treated with respect was your line. This used to be called snitching on yourself. Rayson writes, BioWare's last games were Inquisition, Andromeda, and Anthem. Stop wishing for the old BioWare. This is BioWare now. If you are looking for something the old BioWare would make, look somewhere else, lol. The Spaz, first reply, writes, I am not. I am just here to get some salt for my popcorn and watch the community rip themselves apart with the hate and vitriol. The dark bloody battle is not in the game. It's the fallout in real life that comes from the reactions after the game releases. And we're only a few days away from the real VEILGUARD was the Steam forum post we made along the way. Rowie starts a new thread titled 84 on Metacritic with 49 reviews. Go haters, go. I knew this is going to be a great game. What say you haters now? Zixzz writes, I will vote with my money. This game will not get €1 from me. Leyland Archeron writes, you hate the game, but you've already given them your time and attention. You've already lost. If you want to win, try ignoring the things you hate. You'll grow from it. Anissa Jama, is that you? Beard Soldier 805 writes, Journo opinions don't matter. Chopta NDJ writes, paid reviewers. Garbage, sweet baby ink filth. Omega Zero starts a new thread titled Based EA. Once the reason I was addicted to video games. Now you are the people curing me. Warwick Bartley with a new thread titled I'll never trust another review in my life after this disaster. So many bot reviews. No, I hate to be this guy, but you're just noticing this now. Nickname number 4 says it better. He writes, it is year of our Lord 2024, and this Steam user has just discovered that game journalists are unreliable with a clown emoji. He didn't get any clowns for it though, but he posted a clown of his own just to force the message through. Only a noob starts a new thread titled what the hell is wrong with people? Man-child much? Seriously, what is wrong with people? Get a life, guys. Stop harding on other people's fun. Get out of your mom's basement and touch some hardened grass. Don't want to play? Well, don't. Go play something else. The people who want to play don't care. We just want to play the continuation of the awesome narrative that is the Dragon Age. I want to see what happens next. This debate is just useless. Looks like some kids who don't have any idea what Dragon Age is all about. It is a self-censored. It is a self-censored RPG with fictional characters, fictional universe. Stop trying to bring reality into it. TBH, one part of this me is glad Western society is devolving into idiocracy. Arboni writes, yep, no dissenting opinions. Just nod, agree, and be supportive, like what the OP describes. So what he means by supportive, of course, is not buying the game, but writing walls of text on the Steam forums so that at the end of the day, you can convince yourself that your team won. Yes, very good. That's what BioWare really wants out of you. Mega Chonkster writes, you do realize you kind of fueling the fire here, right? It's genuinely hard to tell whether it's troll post or not. Really, it's hard to tell. I guess he didn't come out at the end and explicitly say this is a troll post, which somebody did in, I think, the Concord forums, and people still replied to it in earnest. So yeah, maybe he's got a point. Frankie boy, new thread titled every interaction sounds like HR is in the room. Discuss. Uneasy, who was banned, writes, sounds like me and my stepdad every Saturday. Vigil writes, the worst burn in the whole video was saying it's a bigger failure than Anthem. Rip. Deus Ex writes, some games these days. Deus Ex writes, some games these days are like watching episodes of Peppa Pig. Just no conflict, no drama, no stakes. Nothing that would trigger any anxieties or anything. Just clean, safe, and simple. Oh, and boring. We were so close. We were this close, gentlemen. That close. Look at it. Look at how close we were. Dunberry, who's Sand King wearing cool shades, writes, adjust glasses. Can you give me a peer-reviewed article to express this observation? Oh, you can't? Smug chuckle. I guess it doesn't exist then. Roaming Zombie writes, that's not how you start a discussion. That is just trolling, and he was given a clown for it. Glancing over this thread, this guy's obviously just stoking the flames, but there's so many people that got banned. Deviant got banned, Phoenix got banned, his Divine Shadow got banned. Like, man, you just can't have any fun in these forums anymore. They're trying to lock it down. I just keep coming back to that IGN line where it's like, if this is the last entry we get in Dragon Age, at least it's a good one. Why would they say that? Makes me suspicious. I think EA really needs this game to sell well. Whatever. Next thread. Jen Milsom RPS.SP writes, stop making fun out of VEILGUARD fans. If you came here to spread your anti-woke hate, leave and go elsewhere. We enjoyed Dragon Age VEILGUARD and are super excited for it. EA and BioWare worked hard to bring us this masterpiece. Let others enjoy and hype. Keep your poison for yourself. For me, it will be Game of the Year. I don't care what you think. Perhaps think rather other. How it is if one makes fun out of you. Who disagrees, insults, makes fun, or gives clowns will be blocked or reported. Remus quotes the last line and says, "Would've been better if you omitted this, TBH." Sinage, Phoenix Main writes, "People getting baited by classic level zeros is truly a Steam forums moment." Senor Tequila with a new thread titled, "DA VEILGUARD is 4th best-selling game on Steam. It's always a nice day when a good game comes out. And while the alt-right snowflakes lose their mind as always about their personal boogeymen, this wokeness, real gamers simply enjoy games without concerning themselves about the skin tone or gender of the fictional protagonist." Demon first reply. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the Steam reviews. Borshin? We'll go with Borshin, who owns the game, by the way, starts a new thread titled, "I am sick of the hate. This game is going to be decent. I call it. Right, lads? Right?" Inhales copium. He owns the game. Rebellion writes, "Made by committee to the extreme degree." Mr. Bunce with a new thread titled, "Why are you posting here if you hate this game? Seems weird. Go be happy in a form of a game you like. Life is short. Why waste it being here and angry?" Tony, because they have nothing more important to do. Undethical writes, "Because we care." S. Gray writes, "I am so sorry. I didn't realize we had to ask your permission to post anything here." Hilsiad writes, "Because we are pissed off at what this franchise has become." Rico Logarnis writes, "Because it's fun watching the modern audience squirm and cry." Misty Frog writes, "Because hell hath no fury like a woman." Also, don't like the shady review practices going on and how they're trying to hide how badly they effed up. I'd prefer everyone knew. King Comrade, new thread titled, "Imagine crying over video game. Bubbling about game being woke are the same man-childs. Talking how BG3 is great and all when BG3 is ultra woke. Get over it. The game is good regardless of it being woke or red-pilled. The success of the game for sane people is only measured in terms of all elements of the game. Plot, dialogues, combat, etc. If your metric of a good game is whether the game is woke or not, sorry to disappoint you, how many woke games are successful, including all-time red-pilled and base lads' favorite BG3. Game is in top 5 Steam global charts. So sorry, it hurts, right?" Animals writes, "Touch the grass. We laughing at the game." King Comrade the OP replies to that and says, "LaMayo, my man, you are crying, not laughing, and the best part is, I laugh at you." Player One writes, "Imagine creating a post crying about people crying." Stop right there, criminal scum. With a new thread titled, "It's so great that gaming journalists are incorruptible these days, and how great it is that Dragon Age is returning to form." To Concord form. Dustin 1280 with a new thread titled, "So, Tash is non-binary. You don't have a choice in the matter and you cannot avoid these interactions. Tash is a walking mouthpiece for the non-binary agenda. You don't have any options in the game to avoid it. If you want the best ending, you have to put up with and actually support her drivel." Biro Lay writes, "Odd how there isn't even a renegade option to these dialogues. Even if you're role-playing as the most immoral, rude piece of shit, you'll always react like, aw, that's so brave." Red Phantom, who was banned, writes, "Looks like this is propaganda, first and foremost, and a game a distant second." Non-binary writes, "Imagine how fun it would be to always misgender her, drive her into insanity with each dialogue. Renegade for life." Loser with a new thread titled, "Post here if you think it will flop. I need a concise list of people to point and laugh at when this game sells well. Thanks." Tom Pork writes, "Count me in. Just remember that this is probably worth twice as much as Concord since it's AAA game being developed over 10 years and Concord was simple hero shooter. So to repay itself, it needs at least 500 million in net profit. So count 30% cut from digital distributors. As long as it won't pay off, I count it as a flop." Coley writes, "I think it will be like Path of Exile 2, Saints Rose, Anthem, Starfield, Star Wars Outlaws, too many to count. They will claim it's doing well, trying to push up the sales, and then later, when no one is looking, state it had disappointed disappointing sales. Although, recently studios don't even get that honeymoon period and close a few months later. I had thought it would do like Star Wars Outlaws, lose money but still sell a few copies. Now I'm not too sure. Honestly, it could be another Concord or Saints Rose. You get that energy from the press. Hey, we get to see the player count, so let's see. A lot of people posting in this thread saying to add me to the list. You can add me to the list too, I guess. I don't think it's gonna do very well. Call me a pessimist, but I don't think this game's gonna make any money. Oddball writes, I have seen early previews and bro, this is pretty bad. Mao1469 writes, it already has flopped. All right, last thread, then I'm out of here. We'll give the last word to Pink Lips with a heart, with a new thread titled DEI plus woke. The reason why I won't buy this game. I won't buy this game, despite being a huge Dragon Age fan. VEILGUARD has nothing to do with Dragon Age. It's just a fantasy sandbox for untalented, sad people with mental issues, spending too much time on Twitter. The Dapper Dragon writes, I just won't buy it because it looks like Hearts, plays like Hearts, and is written by diversity hires for diversity hires. The fact that all of that correlates with DEI is just a coincidence, I'm sure. Osa writes, the first tag of the game is an RPG, but LGHD TV Plus. Why? And I think that's where I'm gonna call it quits. I think I'm done here. Well, the game comes out as, well, by the time this video comes out, it'll probably already be out, so I guess we'll know by then whether this did well or not. Hope it does. Hope BioWare returns to form. According to IGN, they did. So, yeah, get hype, I guess. Consume the product. 2 notes before I end the video. First, Concord destroyed Firewalk Studios. Firewalk Studios is shutting down. The Discord is shutting down on the 1st. I'm probably not going to do another video on it, but I just wanted you guys to know that I know there's just not that much interesting left to make a full video on. So, yes, we can kind of dance on their grave a little bit, but I think I'm done with it. Second thing, since we're talking about single player games, Outer Wilds 40% off on Steam right now. If I had to recommend everybody play this game and the DLC. Anyway, that's all I got. Hopefully you guys got a nice cheap laugh out of that. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.